So let me recall. So I said line integral is nothing but integrating a function, right? Integrating a function or a curve C. I said or a curve C. I said. Okay. I said f is a scalar function. Okay. You also make one more assumption on the function f in your notes, that f is going to be a continuous function. We assume that f is a continuous function defined over its domain D, and C is a curve inside the domain D. Okay. So you have a curve. You have a curve, oriented curve. Okay. So if you want to integrate this function, this continuous function, so add the additional condition of continuity in your notes while defining the line integral. Okay. So if you are integrating this continuous function for a curve C, okay, and then that is called a line integral, I said. Okay. Now, how do we define this? How do we define this line integral? Okay, its actual definition is going to be a limit form. If you can remember definitions of definite integral, double integral, and triple integral, from that you will try to give a definition for the line integral. See, I have been calling it as line integral, but you are integrating over a curve. So naturally, we should be calling this integral as a curve integral rather than line integral. Okay. At the first glance, one may think that line integral means integrating over a line, but line integral is not just integrating over a line. It can be integrating over a curve also. It is actually integrating over a curve. It's a conventional name which is named some centuries back. So the same notation we have been following. Okay. So it should be called as curve integral, but we have been calling it as a line integral. Please make a note of it. Okay. Now I'm asking you how to define this line integral. Okay. Now if you remember the limit form of definite integral, what is definite integral? A to b f of x dx. Okay. So you have a function which is defined from a to b. Okay. Then what we did, we partitioned this interval of integration to smaller parts. If you remember, I call it as x0, x1, and so on. Okay. Then geometrically this gives the area. Thus that area we approximated with the sum of rectangular areas. Okay. This that there will be some amount of error is there, and that error can be minimized by increasing the number of partitioning points. I said from each partition I took one point, like x1, x2, x and so on, xn, and length of each subinterval is, I call it as delta xk. So I took summation k equal to 1 to n f of xk, which is height, multiplied with the width, length into width. This gives a rectangular area, and if I increase the number of partitioning points, that means as n tends to infinity, if the limit is existing, that limit we are denoting with a symbol called a to b f of x dx. This explanation I gave earlier in the class in the college. Can you tell me where I wrote this kind of notation, this explanation, where I made? In what topic I brought this discussion?
Multiple integrals.
Multiple integrals means double integral or triple integral. No, this is a single integral. How single integral come into multiple integral? Absurd, right?
Definite integral.
This is I am telling this is definite integral only. We are expressing this definite integral into limit of a sum of rectangular areas. Okay. This discussion I brought in numerical integration. If you remember, while discussing about trapezoidal rule, Simpson's 1/3 rule, Simpson's 3/8 rule, we derived a generalized integration formula. Okay. in that discussion in the numerical integration, we brought this discussion. Okay. Now, in a similar definition we gave for double integral, right? So, what is double integral of f of x comma y? Okay, you have a plane region. You have a plane region. So, what we did, we partitioned this plane region with lines parallel to x-axis and y-axis. We got some rectangular cells. We gave some index to these rectangular cells. Okay, from each cell we took one point x1 y1 z1 x2 y2 z2 x1 y1 x2 y2 x3 y3 and so on. Then we computed these sums. Okay, something like summation k equals to 1 to n. Okay, function of input. What is input? Xk comma yk, and dimension of this partition. In this case, the dimension of the partition is length delta xk. In this case, what is the dimension of this cell? This cell will have dimension area. I said delta ak. If you remember this. Okay. So and as increase the number of partitioning points, okay, limit of this sum of these areas, this gives the double integral. This is the base area, this is the height. Base area into height gives the volume of the region which is standing above this cell, I said. So if f is positive, I said double integral f gives the volume of the region bounded by the surface and the region R, I said. This is called R. Similar discussion I brought for f of xyz dv over the domain D. Suppose if you have a solid, it can be regular solid or irregular solid. So if you have a solid kind of region in the space, if some function is defined over this solid, okay. Now if you want to define this, what we did, we partitioned this domain D with lines parallel to x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So when you partition like that, you will get a cuboidal volumes. You will be getting a cuboidal volumes, okay, like this. Okay, so like that small cuboidal volumes you will get. You give some index to this, okay, and from each cuboid you take one point and multiply f of xk yk zk with the dimension of this cuboid. What will the dimension of this cuboid? Volume.
Volume.
So delta vk, and as increase the number of partitions and allow n tends to infinity, if that limit is existing, we have been calling it as a triple integral. Okay, so on the whole what I'm trying to say is definite integral, double integral, triple integral, basically integration. Okay, integration is nothing but limit of summations. Okay, limit of summation. Okay, naturally you can expect some kind of limit definition for this line integral, some kind of limited definition for this line integral. Okay, so what we can do to this curve? Partitioning. So how can you partition this curve into smaller parts like this? Can you see that? Just like how we did partition to a line, you just give a partition to this curve. Okay, so give some index like delta s1, delta s2 and so on. From each point you take one point. From each part you will be taking one point. So I can be forming a sum like this: k equals to 1 to n f of, because this curve is in the space, input will be three-dimensional point. It's k, yk, zk. Please mute yourself. Some disturbance is there. F of xk, yk, zk. Okay, and what will be the dimension of this arc? Dimension of this arc is going to be length. That length we denote with the delta sk. That dimension of this arc is going to be length. Okay, so if you are increasing the number of partial points, okay, please mute yourself. There is some background disturbance is there. Okay, so as n tends to infinity, this if this limit exists, then that is called the line integral. That is called this line integral. It is just similar to that of these integrals, the earlier integrals, definite integral, double integral, and triple integral. Okay, so this is the limit definition for a line integral. Okay, now so what is a note? Okay, suppose if what happens if f is 1, if f of x y z equal to a constant function, f of x y z equal to 1, then what this line integral 1 ds gives? What this line integral 1 ds gives? You see, when I replace this f with 1, okay, this will not be there. Okay, then you are just adding
Length.
length, so that will give arc length. Okay, that will give the arc length k equals to 1 to n. Limit n tends to infinity. Sum is k equal to 1 to n delta sk. That is nothing but length of the curve or arc. Length of the curve C. Okay. So far you know how to find out area. You know how to, you know, double integral 1 gives area. Am I right? Double integral 1 gives area. Triple integral 1 gives volume. Okay, area, volume. Now you know how to find out the length also. You can find out length using the line integral. You can find out the length using the line integral. Line integral 1 over c gives the length of the curve. Okay, so all the three dimensions for any arbitrary ones can be found out. It can be curved, kind. It can be plane. It can be some solid also. Okay, so in the next section, okay, we will see how to compute this line integral. Okay, this kind of limit definition may not be useful for us to do problems actually. Okay, so we should have some other way of finding this line integral. What is that? We'll see in the next slide. Shall I proceed? Okay, now before proceeding further, we'll see different representations of this curve. Okay, how a curve can be represented. What is parametric representation of a curve? What is a parametric representation of a curve? We represent a curve like this. X equal to x of t, y equal to y of t, z equal to z of t, where t is running from t1 to t2. This is a parametric representation of a three-dimensional curve. You know parametric representation of a two-dimensional curve. In case of a two-dimensional curve, how it will be something like only two variables, x equal to x of t, y equal to y of t, where t is varying from t1 to t2. Something like if you remember x equal to a cos t, y equal to a sin t. X equal to a cos t, y equal to a sin t. If I say t varying from 0 to 2 pi, then this gives a circle complete circle, right? If I say t is varying from 0 to pi, if t is varying from 0 to pi, then it gives only upper semicircle and in a anti-clockwise direction, right? Only upper semicircle. Okay. So, so these are the parametric representations of the curve. It can be 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. Now, what is a vector representation of this curve? Okay, vector representation is nothing but combination of these three. Okay, now we know r bar equal to what is a vector representation? Okay, vector in vector form we denote curves like this. R bar equal to x of t I bar plus y of t j bar plus z of t k bar. That's it. Where t is varying from t1 to t2. Where t is varying from t1 to t2. Okay, what is the r bar? R bar is nothing but position vector, no? R bar is xi bar plus yj bar plus zk bar. But x, y, z are again functions of a real variable t varying from t1 to t2. Okay, so that is a representation that we are going to take for a curve in the vector form. Okay, then how to evaluate this line integral? Okay, our discussion is about line integral, right? So line integral actual definition is actual notation is integral of c f of x y z ds. Ds is the differentiation with respect to the arc length along the curve c. Okay, so if you have taken a vector representation of the curve like this, then it is going to be f of x of t. I can replace x with x of t, y of t, z of t, and ds is going to be modulus of dr bar by dt from t1 to t2. t1 to t2. So this is the formula to compute the line integral when you know the vector representation of a function. Can you tell me? Can you identify these two integrals? What is left hand side integral? What is right hand side integral? Left hand side is the line integral, but what is right hand side? Can you identify what is right hand side integral called? F is a scalar function, I said, right? F is a scalar function of three variables. Now those three variables I'm replacing in terms of t. So now the scalar function of three variables becomes scalar function of single variable t. And r bar is a vector. What is r bar? R bar is okay. R bar is xi bar plus yj bar plus zk bar. Okay. So what is dr bar by dt? dx by dt I bar plus dy by dt j bar plus dz by dt k bar. Or simply you can write it as dr bar by dt. You can simply write it as x dot I bar. X dot means dx by dt plus y dot j bar plus z dot k bar. Then what will be magnitude of dr bar by dt? Under root of x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square, x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square. Okay, therefore this is nothing but integral over c. Okay, f of x y z ds is nothing but integral from t1 to t2. Okay, f of x of t. Okay, this whole thing is some function of t. Okay, whole thing is some function of t. So x of t, y of t, z of t multiplied with the under root of x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square dt. This is nothing but a definite integral because modulus of dr bar by dt is a scalar. F of x of t, y of t, z of t is also scalar. Scalar function of single variable into scalar function of single variable. Scalar function of single variable is a scalar function of single variable. So if you are integrating a scalar function of single variable from one real number to another real number, that is nothing but a definite integral. So what it's telling you is that there is a way of finding the line integral by converting converting it to definite integral. Okay. So provided you know the vector representation of this curve. Is it okay? Now, so this is the general formula. So then what will be the length of the curve? How to compute the length of the curve? Length of the curve. I said the integral 1 ds gives the length. But what is 1 ds? ds is nothing but, see, ds is nothing but this part.
Root.
Okay, so under root of dx by dt whole square plus dy by dt whole square plus dz by dt whole square. Integrating from t1 to t2. This is the formula to compute the length of the curve. This is the formula to compute the length of the curve. Okay, when you know the vector representation. Okay, now all said and done, this is all about procedure to find out the line integral. This is the procedure to find out the line integral. But we are not going to do problems on this. We are not going to do problems on finding the length of the curve or finding the line integral for a general case. Okay, I said we are going to see the discussion on particular kind of line integral. Okay, what is that